So what exactly is van life, and is this lifestyle even for us?
Back in 2021, at the end of the year, we set off on a 2-month planned road trip in the van with a temporary build. We wanted to see if this was going to be for us and if it would fit.
Welcome to our first week of van life. We are Michael and Acacia, and 1 month ago we purchased this panel van.
With only 3 days to temporarily kit out the van, we hit the road for the next 2 months.
Join us as we figure out life on the road full time as we travel across South Africa.
If you're new around here, I'm Acacia.
And I'm Michael, and behind me is Yeti the van.
We are Wanderers and Whiskers. Our kitty is somewhere behind us. Maybe he'll pop in the video. We'll have to wait and see. This lifestyle is basically something that people choose, whether it's long-term or short-term, and basically you have a setup in a self-propelled vehicle, usually a van, where you can cook inside, have a sleeping setup, and basically all your things with you.
Yeah, you can either convert it yourself or you can get someone to convert it for you. Just depends on if you want to tackle the project or not. But we found that by converting it yourself, it's a lot cheaper. There's companies that do it for you, but the prices were way out of our budget.
Yeah, it's just a minimalistic way and simple lifestyle, being outdoors most of the time and having the van as a vessel to be comfortable and keep on the move.
Van life is basically just traveling in a van. That's basically your home. The types of people that we think that would enjoy van life would be someone that's very adventurous or likes to seek outdoors. We just love the feeling of just opening the doors and stepping outside and just exploring nature every single day and being one with nature.
And feeling like we are at home in different places all over the world.
Yeah, everything we own is with us 24/7, which is awesome. Like, to me, if I want to get something, I know it's in the van.
Yeah, everything's very purposefully thought out. It has a spot in the van and that's where it goes every time.
Yeah, and also going back to building it, we built this one ourselves, so we did everything the way we wanted to do it, the way we saw it fit well. So that's also something that you can do. It's a very small space, so you can make it fit and do exactly what you want it to do.
Our first 2 months on the road was a really great time for us to sort of get a feel for the space inside the van. As we only had 3 days to temporarily kit out the interior, it was very basic and we kind of got a feel for where the bed was, where the kitchen was, and how we would do things in the future.
On that note, this is a temporary build. In the last video, we're going to be stripping this all again and building a proper van. Well, not a proper van, a proper home inside the van.
So let's take you on our first trip in the van.
The reason for this road trip and our 3-day build was because of work, and that's how we make a living on the road. We create marketing content for brands and establishments, so we are on the way to an Airbnb to create marketing content for them. And it wasn't just one, we had four booked along in the 2 weeks. That's why we got this van.
In our free time, we were able to book into campsites and kind of get a feel for the areas that we were in and explore new places as opposed to driving back and forth to a home base.
We got to spend more time in the areas that we were traveling to. And when we first started traveling on the road, that's one of the reasons that we bought the van. We'd always drive to some place, then drive all the way back home. We found that very annoying, and we just wanted to stay on the road. But weather, many other things, price of accommodation, all that was a big factor. So yeah, let's jump back into the road trip. After the first 2 weeks on the road, the work that we had planned for a bit was complete. So we then took a detour down to the beach and visited 4 garden route campsites.
Having the van was promoting a lot more outdoor time, so we were able to visit local beaches and national parks before we got our cat. Also able to close up the space when bad weather came and be in a cozy environment.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons that always chased us away from the road. We were living in a tent, so tent and rain, wind, all that was not comfortable. especially when you've got camera gear and all the electronics and trying to do work. So that always chased us home or booking into an Airbnb for a long period of time. So weather was a big factor, but now we've got a metal van. We can just close the door and we're happy, and there's space.
Yeah, I think that's when we really started to fall in love with this lifestyle. We had a cozy environment, but also we could be outside cooking and just spending time together.
Yeah, so after our 4 garden route campsite on the route to Cape Town, we left Cape Town en route to West Coast.
Found some really beautiful beach campsites. We opened up our doors and we just lay in bed, mesmerized by the ocean and golden sunsets over the sea, which we aren't really used to.
Yeah, and this was all from the comfort of our van, you know, and we had driven it from East London to the West Coast now. So we had our home on the other side of the country, which is awesome. Again, tick for van life.
This week we decided to head up the west coast of South Africa, stopping at 3 coastal towns with stunning beach camps.
We arrived at Azefontein and headed down to the beach for a windy but beautiful sunset over the sea. Then headed back to camp for some supper. We then made our way to Lambert's Bay, skipping a lot of the coast with the intention of stopping at some of these places on the way back.
Camp was situated with the perfect view over the beach. We set up camp for a few days where we watched pink luminescent sunsets over the sea.
After some time along the coast, we started making our way inland into the Cederberg Mountains, which was a first for both of us.
It's a place I heard about a lot while traveling the country, and we were super excited to be here.
We were actually there during the summertime, so let's not forget to mention that it was extremely hot and our van wasn't even insulated at the time. We didn't have windows or an air vent.
Yeah, it was really hot. Like, I remember one morning opening the van at like 6 o'clock because it was too hot to be inside anymore. But I can say now, having an insulated van is completely different.
Yeah, so we spent our days finding mountain springs to swim in and seeking out shade under the trees, but we really enjoyed our time there and we have been back many times.
Yeah, we're currently in the Cederberg right now.
As you may know, last week we were on the west coast camping along the beach, but this week we found ourselves in the Cederberg mountain area.
Uncovering hidden campsites, hiking the mountains, finding waterfalls and enjoying every sunset.
We woke up to a misty morning at camp, located at the foot of the Cederberg mountain in the Koa Bokkenveld. We spent the morning catching up on work, then decided to head out for lunch.
We did a short 30-minute hike up the mountains where we found huge boulders emerging out the ground, with viewpoints overlooking camp and the surrounding farm.
As we climbed higher, we found a spot to sit, taking in the sounds, views, and some food.
One of our favorite things about this lifestyle is that when we have free time, we get to explore different backyards and landscapes like this one.
After a few days exploring the Cederberg, we started to make our way home via the Cape Winelands.
This week we set off along the Cape Wine route, leaving Cape Town in the direction of our hometown.
We are Michael and Acacia, and this is our van Yeti. With only 3 days to temporarily kit out the van, we hit the road.
Join us as we figure out life on the road full-time, traveling across South Africa.
This week we found ourselves parked up along the Breede River among vineyards and mountains on the water's edge.
We woke up nice and early at our first campsite, made some arrow coffee along the river's edge and watched the sun rise.
We enjoy a slow morning, sometimes with an activity to get the body moving before we get work done.
We camped along the Breede River, which is one of South Africa's biggest rivers. We actually stopped at a few campsites along the river on our way up.
And we were parked among the grape vineyards, so it's just super awesome to see that.
Towering blue gum trees and along the Breede River down below.
After setting up camp, we sent the drone up for a view of the surrounding landscapes, while we lay under the shady trees jotting down some goals for 2022.
Until finally we were back in the Eastern Cape, where we visited Addo Elephant National Park.
This is one of our favorites. There are so many elephants there, and also when you get to camp there, you get to visit the reserve super early and super late. So yeah, we made advantage of that. We visited the reserve as much as we could.
That trip has actually still been one of the best elephant experiences that we've ever had, and we spotted the lions in that trip, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, there were so many elephants, and yeah, you'll just have to wait and see.
The great thing about doing game drives with your house in the back is that you can stop anywhere and enjoy a cup of freshly brewed Arrow coffee.
In total, we visited over 25 campsites in our first 2 months on the road, which just goes to show how easy it is to be on the move in a van.
Which goes on to why we chose the van and this lifestyle. We had seen this online and we had just really wanted to try it out. And after that 2 months on the road, we can definitely say that we were keen to keep going.
Since we were already traveling and we had been in a tent, this was a much better setup for us.
That's it for this week's video.
If you enjoyed and made it this far, we really appreciate you. Don't forget to subscribe. It is free to do so and helps us more than you can know.
So next week we're going to be diving into converting this van, so definitely subscribe as you won't want to miss that one. Cheers.
See you then.